after really looking into Centrifuge, I don't see how it can lose. I really don't. I think they have a lot of this market already cornered. That's what I believe. They're working with Coinbase, working with Circle, they're working with Aave, and look at Aave's connections now with Trump and all this stuff. I don't think Centrifuge can lose. I'm not a financial advisor. Today's altcoin spotlight is on Centrifuge. Let's mix it up. Okay, guys. Its main purpose is to connect DeFi and RWAs or with RWAs by generating profits that are not tied to volatile assets. The market cap comes in 123 million, token price 24 cents, total supply 559 million, with 514 million of those in circulation. Why it's interesting, concept's interesting because there are big implications, blah, 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 blah. But I want to talk to you guys about what Centrifuge is, okay? So we're going to start, let's go to their website. One thing you guys will notice about Centrifuge is it does seem to fit almost kind of the Pith and Ondo logo, right? We talked about it before. It's got the Fibonacci kind of sequence rolled up into that thing or the golden ratio. I think it's kind of the same thing. But the point is that people have said, they pointed this and said, oh, is this the top tier like these other ones? And, the thing is, I was told is, sometimes the little tier 2 ones, they try to mimic the hallmarks of the top. And for good reason, why would you not want to do something similar to what Ondo does if you're Centrifuge? But this doesn't mean the Centrifuge can't stand on its own, okay? So I just always want to point this out and say Ondo is the top. And we're going to talk about some other RWAs down the line that I think have a lot more potential for growth because they're a little bit further down the list than Centrifuge. But Centrifuge, if you've got an RWA portfolio, I think you would almost be a dummy not to have this in there, to be honest with you. This kind of is a behemoth here, and people don't realize that. And we are looking at something that is very, very, very significant here, okay? So let's see. So here we are on the website. Come down here and you start looking, and it looks kind of like every other one of these sites, okay? But of course, you notice here, they've got your treasury bills, your DeFi yields, and your CLOs. And I guess I'm going to tell you guys like this, okay? I told you guys yesterday, I struggle with treasury and yields, and I don't understand it. I don't get it. I never have. It's the most boring thing in all of what we do in the world of finance. And it was something I didn't really care about. I wasn't going to put money into it. I'm not investing in the dollar. Which you're investing in the government, but it's kind of the same thing in a sense. And it sounds like something for my grandpa. My grandpa's in crypto. I guess it's his grandpa. But the thing is the reason why I'm not interested in it is because I don't have money on an institutional level. Okay. And I don't have money set aside for safekeeping. I did it one time, I thought, but I guess I never really did. I don't have some kind of giant pool of millions of dollars sitting around that I can take and go put into a bunch of IOUs to the government, okay? And so I think probably a lot of you guys are in a similar situation. You came in because you're in crypto. Now, if you came in because you were in TradFi or stocks, you might know all this. I didn't. So I want to give you guys just kind of a quick explainer to understand bonds and T-bills and notes, okay? So I came up with an acronym. It's BNB, right? Binance Coin, right? BNB. So it stands for bills, notes, bonds. You got to remember the order though, right? Bills, notes, bonds. That's the order. Okay. So your bills are going to be your short term. We'll talk about your T-bills, your treasury bills. And then your midterm are going to be your the notes, your T notes. And those are like 2 years to 10 years. And then you have your bonds that are like 10 years to 30 years. Okay. Now, what does that even mean? Like, who cares about that? What does that even mean? Okay. So here's the thing. Okay. Here's a great analogy for you guys. And you can thank my AI genie. He came up with this. And I think it's original. I don't think it's somewhere else on the internet. Maybe someone else has used this before. But he explained it to me in a way and it made so much sense. Okay. So you move into a house, huge house. You got a neighbor, big house, big neighbor. Guy's got a lot of money everywhere. But for some reason, he doesn't ever seem to have it, right? But he's got it. He doesn't ever seem to have it on him, man. It sounds a lot like me back in the day, okay? He always needs to borrow money from you for some reason. He's your rich neighbor. This is the U.S. government. Your U.S. government. The U.S. government is your super rich neighbor. Always got money, but he always needs something. He always needs a little bit of money. Hey, man, I got my money all tied up in this. Give me a little bit of this. And so you classify the way that you hand your rich neighbor, he gives you some interest. Not much, but he gives you a little bit back, and he's your neighbor. You love him, you hang out with him. You don't love him in a weird way, but you love hanging out with the fam and stuff like that. I don't know. You don't love your neighbors like that these days. But the point is that you got 3 pools of kind of different loans he's going to take from you. Some are like, hey, you just need this for a little bit. He might give it to you any day. He might give it to you next time he sees you. Might give it to you 3 months down the road, but just any day. These are your treasury bills. These are your short-term loans. You're very short-term. You get to the government, boom, boom, boom. Actually, you pay the government for the treasury bills, you pay the front end. So for like $1,000, you pay like $980. And then in 6 months or however long, whenever you get your coupon back, I think it's 6 months. But the point is that when you get that back, you get your $1,000 back. So it's like you fronted the government like $980, and then they give you like 1,000 is the way that the treasury bills work. And those are less than 1 year. Okay. Those are your short-term loans. Then you have your treasury notes. Those are your 2 to 10 years. These are like your car payment. It's like a car payment. Hey man, can you pay my car payment? That's what he's asking you. So his car payment's now your car payment, I guess. Right. He just needs you to pay it because he gets paid every quarter. He's got to pay that every month. Every month he's got to pay it. So, he needs you to pay it for him. So you're paying his car bill for him. Okay. Now, this is different because you're not paying up front for it. Like in a sense, you're paying up front for it, but not in the same way. Like you're getting interest back. Okay, you get interest back every 6 months, I believe it is on these. Maybe I'm incorrect on that. I think that's right. You get interest on that every 6 months. They call them coupons. And then at the end of the term, like let's say it's 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, whenever you pay its car off, you get all the money back that you gave it. Like you let it borrow the money, and then you got money from it, and then you get your money back at the end. And then a bond, it basically essentially works the same way. It's just on a higher time frame. It's like your mortgage. It's not your car payment, right? It's your mortgage. It's your long term. This is what. Hey man, I only get paid once every 31 years. I don't know if you know this. Like every 31 years, it's a 30-year mortgage. So, if you pay my mortgage for me. U.S. government, he's always asking for something, but he's good for it because, he's U.S. government. He's good for it. He tells you it's good for it. So that's a little bit to help you guys kind of, I know we're like moving to the centrifuge, but it's really important, I think, for people that don't understand what that is. I didn't know any of that stuff, to be honest with you. I really didn't. I never put money into it. So that was a good overview that kind of my AI genie gave me about how to understand how all these things work together. And it's important because as we move back to centrifuge here, it's really important to understand that because centrifuge is pools of real world assets, RWAs, right? Well, the very first thing it's got here are the treasury bills. And I think these are different than the USDY. So the USDY, by the way, is the treasury bills, and the OUSG is the bonds and the notes. That's basically the way that it works. So that's why the price of USDY is always going to be equal. I think it should be like to the annualized rate. I think. But Ondo has that side of it kind of crushed. They've got like the security side. I don't know if you call it securities, but it's got the bills and the treasuries, right? It's got it. Now, Centrifuge is doing that too, but Centrifuge offers basically anything that's not tokenized to come in to the tokenized world. And that's centrifuge, right? What is a centrifuge? It's a scientific thing that you put a bunch of liquids in and it mixes and moves it really quickly around. That's what it is. It's mixing TradFi and crypto, but it's also mixing the different types of investments into now the tokenized world in a sense. And so lately they've had some news, some of the latest news. They're featured in a Superstate report on the state of tokenization. Superstate is an asset management firm based out of New York, modernizing the infrastructure of investment funds. You can see here, it's multi-chain. You can see they work with Polkadot, they work with Aave, they work with Block Tower, they work with Arbitrum. They work with Cello, they work with Sky, Base, and Circle. So it's an asset agnostic. Now it also has something called, maybe it is if we launch the app. Let's launch the app real quick. I don't know. This is different. This is the Centrifuge app. This shows the total value locked here, 122 million essentially. You can see the governance. You can there is a token. Now this is the Anemoy Liquid Treasury Fund. They call this LTF. You may see this called LTF if you look around. And they also have something called the Silver Series. Now Centrifuge also has let's see the pools. Let's see, where did I get to? It's Morpho. Let me find Morpho. So Morpho is their application to hedge. I think it's like to hedge against RWAs or something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Let me just go straight to it. Morpho. So this was big news when this came out. They were having I think it was a merge with Morpho, or they were a partnership with Morpho. So here's Morpho. It's open infrastructure for on-chain loans. It's the most secure, efficient, and flexible lending platform. And if you go here, you can launch their application. This is where I was playing around this morning. I was looking at this, and it's got an earn, and they have borrow. And let's see if it's going to pop up here. Okay, you got Spark DAI Vault. That's interesting, Spark DAI. But one of their biggest ones is this thing called Stakehouse Financial. And Stakehouse USDC Vault aims to optimize yields by lending USDC against blue chip crypto and real world asset collateral markets, depending on market conditions. We call this the dual engine. And so anyways, I don't know, can anybody just contribute to this? I mean, it seems like maybe you can. Just you have USDC that's...
It looked like some of them had like a minimum contribution of like 500K or whatever. But I think as long as you meet that threshold, it looks like you can pop in there.
Well, I tell you, this is stuff we're going to be doing, guys, over time. I mean, we're not going to switch to it right now. It doesn't make sense for us to totally switch over. But when it comes to the bear market, this is the stuff we're going to be doing, because this is the stuff that may have potential to continue to make money even when things are down. So in Centrifuge, we will very quickly go to the CoinGecko here and just kind of take a look at it. We will look at the chart here in just a second, but you can see it had a run up back in the last run. And then of course, during, to the pre-halving, and then boom, has not returned since. And man, I am looking at this and it is looking like it is a good price to me. I don't know. What say you, Bit Squad? Put your thoughts in the comments and let me know. So in closing, Centrifuge is a crypto to watch due to its role in bridging RWAs and DeFi, enabling businesses to tokenize assets like, and these are things we didn't talk about, watch out, Proppy, like real estate, invoices, and mortgages, collateralize those for liquidity. Wow. Its collaboration with Block Tower, which is a big investment arm, reduced securitization costs by 97%, or is that a defense place? I guess it maybe sounds like, I guess Block Tower. I saw Block Tower CEO and I thought he was maybe an investment guy, but maybe it's a security guy. Reduced securitization costs by 97%, and partnerships with tomorrow's coin. Tomorrow we're going to look at MakerDAO, a coin that I never thought I would really have a reason to go in depth and look at. Well, here we are with RWAs, and Centrifuge has got a partnership with MakerDAO, and it's very, very interesting. People are collateralizing DAIs. They're taking RWAs and collateralizing it for DAI. And it's very, very interesting how it's happening. And it shows you that there still is something about that enterprise and institutional pool of Ethereum. They still love it. All these things are built on Ethereum. And I think that is Centrifuge linked to Base, though, right? Is that correct?
I'd have to take a look. I will do that in a sec. Block Tower is an institutional investment firm applying professional trading, venture investing, credit underwriting, and portfolio management to digital and traditional assets.
There you go. Okay. So you guys can see there that it's an investment arm. And basically, I guess whatever securitization, I guess, is because they're trusted as collateralizers, I guess I would say. So this is Centrifuge here, and community search on Twitter. Yeah, I guess I don't. Polkadot. Is this right? Is it built on Polkadot? That can't be right. It links over to Polkadot. It's one of the partners they work with. I've seen. But anyways, with increasing adoption of RWA, Centrifuge is positioned for significant growth in the evolving DeFi market. Okay, all right, let's move on. Let's check out the charts. I did want to first, of course, pull up, like I was talking about, we will pull up the Centrifuge chart here. Take a look, because looking at it, it looks like, man, it's probably a pretty good investment, I would think. And guys, I want you guys to know I have no ties at all to any of these companies. I've never put any money in Centrifuge. I actually, to be honest with you, didn't know a ton about it until today. But look at that. Look at those scam pump wicks. Golly. So this is against Tether. I mean, it is USDT, so that's what everything's trading against. This is a 4-hour chart. Let's go check out the daily on this and see. Speaking of crypto phase, we got market cipher right on down at the bottom of the chat. And I told Crypto Face I was going to do a market cipher video, and I'm still going to do it. You know, when you pull up market cipher B here and you look back at Centrifuge, you can see it did call with the big green dots its biggest pumps here. But, you know, the question is this thing going to have another monstrous run up? And I'll be really honest with you guys. I don't feel confident saying right now, to be honest with you. I don't feel confident saying if you were to look here from the launch, I mean, you would certainly say, I mean, if this thing were to break out, I mean, it would be massive. Let's go from the somewhere thereabouts. Somewhere thereabouts. So, I mean, it's really got to break out back up to above 50 cents or somewhere thereabouts to really be pumping and moving. But it does show you that if the price were to get over this kind of downtrend, overall downtrend, when you look back at the daily since its history, or since it's been trading here on I guess is OKX, I think you would say it would have a massive run to the upside if it were to break out. Kind of similar, it reminds, this reminds me of a lot, the XRP chart. I mean, this reminds me of the XRP chart from 2017 to today, and now we have the breakout. It was the same kind of thing. This looks like a more kind of compact version of that. And I just don't really, after really looking into Centrifuge, I don't see how it can lose. I really don't. I think they have a lot of this market already cornered. That's what I believe. They're working with Coinbase, working with Circle, they're working with Aave, and look at Aave's connections now with Trump and all this stuff. I don't think Centrifuge can lose as an RWA project. So what you're asking here, when you're saying, can this project on this chart get above this line and have a massive breakout to the upside? You're saying, do I believe RWAs are going to pump in the cycle? And yes, I do. So I think that's the answer. I would feel very confident buying Centrifuge. Now, that doesn't mean that if you look here at the chart, okay, you do have, like, what's the downside here? Well, I mean, it's been at lower marks, it's been down. What's the price at right now? 23 cents. Guys, the downside is not even that bad. It's always at the very bottom. And it seems very interesting to me that this one is down so much compared to everything else. We've got so many institutional ties. I don't know. Maybe like they were waiting for Ondo to have that big release and they could clear all that FUD before maybe getting things back around and going. I think that's definitely something to consider. So overall, definitely one I would consider putting in my portfolio, Centrifuge, and I will consider it. I'm more interested, to be honest with you guys, on playing with these protocols and actually getting on and doing some of these actions that these things are offering, just to be able to get the experience to talk about it a little bit clearer with you guys. Because I'm telling you guys, the RWAs, the institutional investing, this is the future of crypto. This is where it's going. We'll always cover the degenerate stuff because that's what we do here. But the vast majority of it, I'm telling you, in the future is going to be, we're moving to just a slightly more interesting financial world, like just a slightly more interesting CNBC. It's Morning Crypto with Bitboy. That's how it goes. I will never wear a suit on the show. That's true. That's a promise. I mean, maybe once or twice, but I will not wear suits on the show.